you guys, and welcome to the Women's Cave, although Winona was distracted and couldn't welcome you properly.
I know. Don't you miss the narcissism?
Oh, wait.
I do.
Wait, I'm Jade, by the way.
Oh, right. Thank you for introducing me first, though. What? Yeah. She finally recognized my importance. My name is Winona, yes. And we're part of the And I Thought ladies. Why are you shaking your head? Narcissism is part of my job.
I can't do it. I can't do it with you when it's too early. I only had like 3 sips of coffee. And no, you cannot say 7 because it's really 3.
It is 3.
Thank you for that.
She's not lying. Yeah, it's actually 3.
Lying. Oh my God. I can't with you.
I'm sorry.
Your whole life. Anyway.
She's not giving alternate facts. We have books. Introduce the books.
And I thought, oh my. Okay, so our books are, and I thought I did, see? And I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons. And I thought being grown up was easy. And I thought I could juggle it all. And I thought I did my journey alone. And I thought we are not saying the little spiel today.
And I thought I had it all figured out.
No
Episode 1
spiel.
of fiction, and I will not do a spiel because the last time Gina took me seriously, and that's just not going to happen again today.
Yes, because we were not serious. We were not serious. But we have a house full of a women's cave full of women today.
I know, powerful women, important, powerful women.
I feel.
Wait, if you can see this is me being nervous. The narcissist is nervous. You know how important they are, then, right?
So we're just gonna jump right into it. Oh, you can find all of it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. No.
Yeah.
No. And we thought no. AndWeThought.com. You guys just check out everything we're doing on AndWeThought.com. And our first guest likes to introduce themselves.
I hate you right now.
Yes, you do. Let's get Stefani.
Hi, I'm Stefani deoul. I'm a television producer. I'm a writer. My new novel is On a LARP, because that's what I'm supposed to do. On a LARP, and which is a young adult mystery story. And that's and I am the voice of Laverne on Haven. If you ever watch it and you're a fan.
I know. I think that's the coolest job ever.
It was the coolest job ever. He needs to come back so I can have it again.
Yeah, that's a cool job.
By the way, if you don't know what Laverne is, it was on Haven. Gina.
No, it's not Gina. It's Barry.
It's Barry. I'm sorry.
Barry. Okay. Hi. Good morning. Good very early morning.
I'm really sorry about that.
I had to check it like 3 times. I thought I must be wrong. I'm Barri Evins. I'm I am a storyaholic. First and foremost, I think that's the short version. The slightly longer version is that I'm a film producer. I've been an executive. I'm a consultant. I am a columnist for Script Mag. I'm speak at studios and conferences all over the country on different aspects of story, as well as work with clients. And I'm writing a book about story.
Go figure. I
was going to be like, oh, she's going to write something about, what was I thinking she was going to write? Like a romance. So I was like, oh, she's going to write a romance. It's going to be totally off. No, okay.
No, but I'm very in love with story, and the book is tentatively titled Creating Delicious Stories.
Ooh, that's a really great title. I like it.
It now makes me want to eat like
Thank you.
Yes, it does.
She said delicious.
I know, I was like, food. Anyway, Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina Smith. I am not on the producer side. I am actually a marketing consultant. I did my side in the studios on the marketing side, and then I went freelance, and I'm kind of a gun for hire in all areas of the industry. And then I'm also a production/talent manager for Scott Brick, who's an audiobook narrator. So I am very busy all the time.
So if you ever hear like an audiobook and you love it, her person probably did it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Scott's done over 900 books.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's more than likely done it.
He's very, very busy. So he makes me very, very busy.
But it means you can have a nice place and stuff, though. So that works out great. All right, never mind.
Okay,
Jade,
so
continue.
Me? Yeah, we have to get a lot of people in today. So Aimme, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Aimme Kodachian, not Kardashian, right? I'm the author of Tears of Hope, my true life story growing up in 1975 Lebanese Civil War. So I wrote my book with only fourth grade education, severe dyslexia, and the story of escaping death in Lebanon and coming to United States and living my dream now. So after the book, I became a keynote speaker and seminar presenter, teach what I learned throughout the obstacles and the challenges that I had to overcome. And that led me to have my own show. And then I produced 2 other shows for Stefani Thompson and Judy Morio. Now seems like my journey is taking me to produce more shows. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm with fabulous ladies like you today.
Oh, thank you. And Brandy?
Uh-oh, no audio.
Hold on, Brandy. I'm waiting for Brandy.
It really helps if you turn the microphone on.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I keep doing that. Anyway, I'm Brandy Miller, and what I'm working on is the 40-Day Writer reality TV show, where 40 writers will compete over 40 days to finish, polish, and pitch their books to publishers. That is the show. Someone once commented that it was a little too esoteric. I think they thought it would only appeal to writers. But the truth is that surveys tell us that 80 to 90% of Americans believe they have a book in them. But fewer than 20% of them will ever sit down to write it. So my goal is to kind of help show them what it's going to really take to get from beginning to end.
Nice.
Nice. Right? I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. You have to be here for that.
Okay, so we're just gonna jump into it. And so one of the first questions I have for you guys is, Netflix supposedly, well, I haven't finished watching the show. I mean, not Netflix, Amazon has a show out called Last Tycoon. And what was that question, Will?
Oh, anyway, the show's called Last Tycoon.
I haven't had enough coffee.
It's an old style kind of like producer and what he does. So we wanted to know if producers from like, the 1940s, 50s, and 60s to today, has their role changed?
And if so, how? Yeah, I got that part right. So you had to get some more coffee.
Well, I'm not that old.
Yes.
To offer a first-hand comparison, thankfully. But I think it is very different in a lot of ways. I think that in what a lot of people consider the golden age of cinema, it was a much more studio-driven system. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more cowboy and cowgirl now. And I think that producers are finding stories that they fall in love with and working very, very hard to push the boulder up the hill and get those visions made. And I think that it was more studio-driven, star-driven, and there were rooms full of talented writers. Mm-hmm. And I think producers are probably important, but I think now it's a lot more pushing to make something happen.
Okay. Stefani, you had started?
Well, I'm going to simply, first of all, agree with everything Barry just said.
I love that. Follow me everywhere.
On Twitter.
But I also think that, riffing on the whole, the studios controlled it. And if you went independent, the independent money used to be either in a mini studio or, Howard Hughes. You could do whatever you wanted. I think now the ability to do a lot of this, although then again, with the Netflix kind of thing excluded from this, now you go to a film and you look at 56 companies banding together to make one picture. Mm-hmm. And that producer has to find a way you make a good film by having a point of view in what you make. It might not be a movie I like, might be a movie someone else likes, but it has to have a point of view, or you're not going to have a good film. And I think the challenge there is when you have to service 13 companies to get something made, it adds a level to the job that didn't used to exist. It used to be you only had to make Mr. So-and-so happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, agreed.
Service all those people.
Yeah. Hey, my marketing experience is that back when the Stone Ages, when I worked at the studios, exactly, we cared about the movies. Now everybody cares about the money. And it's very frustrating for me to try to market product when there's 14, clones that are in the pipeline or just got released. And so it's like, how do you differentiate yourself from the pack? And so that's been very frustrating for me. I'd say in the last 10 to 15 years, the industry has changed 180 on its head. I mean, it's just not the same business anymore. Unfortunately.
I'm sorry. Aimme, did you have anything to say about that? Because I know you.
Well, yeah, I can't say anything about the history, but I could see the difference between when I wrote my book 12 years ago and now. We have more writers now, and we have more producers. People are the YouTube. People are getting popular on YouTube just by having a camera in their home, and they're getting popular because they're being themselves, which is a good thing. But the professional part of it are harder to market than the person who have just camera in the house and have 500,000 or couple of millions followers. It's in a way it's easier than before to reach the people, but in the other way, if you try to be so professional, you're losing your spot. Basically, it's becoming more easy and more yourself than really putting the hard work. However, I still think when you put the hard work into the work that you're doing, the production, it will stay for long term. You work hard in the beginning, but then you're creating something beautiful instead of being just acting like crazy and getting popular, So I think it still will have a long-term life in the market. It's harder, but it will have a long term. So I chose to do my shows, and the akexpertstv.com is more professional, more what I believe in, more elegant, as much as I could, not to be just anything, So there is competition, and the competition it's at home with the camera.
Brandy, can I ask what your perspective is on this, being someone who is aspiring to get into that world and get something on a network television?
My perspective on it is this. It's kind of like with the publishing world, because what you're seeing is the bigger companies are losing control of the narrative, and the independent can move faster, be more innovative, try different things, and experiment better. But we still need the support of one another. It's good to go out and experiment and find out what works first, and then put the production value. So I think it's a test before you invest situation. It used to be that Hollywood would dump millions into a movie or into a television show without any proof that it was going to succeed. They were just counting on their marketing ability to sell the show. Whereas,
Gina, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Go ahead, Brandy. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Whereas
I have a habit of doing that every time to you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I talk over people too. Bad habit. But this way you can allow the market to tell you what it wants, and then invest in it.
Gina, as a marketer for studios and stuff like that, how do you feel about what Brandy just said about?
I agree. I wish that we could. Okay, so when in my many years of travels with the dinosaurs, I used to have a saying for Hollywood. The unspoken rule of Hollywood is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'll never forget, like, working on films when the internet came around and everybody was like, why do we need a website? What's the internet? We've been doing it this way all this time since, the Stone Ages, and why do we need to change? And so I think that the chasm between changing for the internet and then embracing social media And so it was like they threw the baby out with the bathwater. It was like, oh, good, here's this new way of doing things. Let's get rid of all the old ways of doing things, and let's just go with this new way, and let's only do what makes money. I mean, come on. The movies that are out right now, well, not like right now, but I mean, in the last 5 years, I mean, some of them have been so ridiculous. And did anybody notice? I just noticed this a couple days ago. TV. How many military shows do we have launching this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Come on, people. We all don't need to have our own military show.
Well, I think the perfect example of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Who wants to talk? Because I'm a host and everyone else is a guest. So who wants to talk? Guest?
It's okay.
We want to hear from you.
Go for it. Okay. So really quickly, I was going to say, you have that with that one show about time travel, and everyone was like, I love it. And so right after that, everyone was trying to get a show about time travel, and then they all busted because that one show was like, we decided to pull it. Now it's coming back, but it's going to be the only time travel show. But I was like, why did everyone have to follow that trend? I found that interesting, very, very interesting. But getting off of that subject completely,
one more question.
I do have another question. Do you feel that Hollywood has a social responsibility? If they do you feel that they live up to it? And how do you plan on changing that as producers yourselves? For the good or better? Bad or worse? Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's just Hollywood. I think the world has a social responsibility and a responsibility to do better. And I think because we pump images into people's homes every night, we have to lead in that responsibility to do better. And not everything has to be major. There's a very small change. I read Margaret Atwood's book, The Handmaid's Tale, when it came out. And this goes back to, touching a little bit upon what Brandy was saying and all of that. On the one hand, yes, we eat our own and we make 20 of whatever, but there are leaders that come out. And The Handmaid's Tale is a show that would not have been made 20 years ago. You couldn't have sold it. It's not like it hasn't been optioned 50 times by people. And that's actually a tribute to what's going on in television right now, that it was able to be made. They made one change from the original book. The original book, basically everybody except white, devout families goes into death or service. You're either a handmaid or you're dead. And when they did this, they changed it to take away the people of color not being welcome, because if they did it, they could not have an integrated cast. And they would be sending a message they didn't want to send. And Margaret Atwood blessed the change. So I think there's a perfect example of doing better, of saying, look, it's already a depressing society. They're already using women for breeders. But you know what? We can use women for breeders and make that group more than one person and one color if we make this change. And I think that was an important case of Hollywood doing better as opposed to Hollywood doing less better.
Agreed.
And it's a small piece. And you need 100 small pieces to do better.
So do you feel that you've attributed in making this better? Because I mean, as a production person on those two really cool shows, do you feel like you helped it make it better?
What I'm going to say to that is, we tried. We were conscious. We tried. One of our tricky parts is that, Nova Scotia, which was where we filmed Haven for 6 years, Nova Scotia is not the most integrated. When you're in downtown Toronto, it's easier to do better. We tried really hard. We tried to maximize our guest casting dollars that we had to bring in people that didn't already look like our three leads.
Oh.
So we worked hard at it. Were we as successful as one would like to be? Probably not, but I will tell you, we were very successful in our writer's room. We were very successful in areas people don't see. But on screen, I would say we had the fact that we paid attention and the fact that we tried and the fact that we succeeded some of the time is a tribute to a lot of people that made that show and wanted that show to do better. The fact that we didn't really had more to do with where you started your first question, the economic difficulties and challenges, of trying to make, you know, these co-production shows that are being made for $1.50 work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Barry or Gina, do either of you guys want to weigh in on this question, or did Stefani just pretty much wrap it up?
I think Stefani did a great job explaining it. I will say that I'm very grateful for what Wonder Woman did this year. I think that Jennifer Lawrence has been really preaching about the disparity with the women in Hollywood, and it's been going on for years, and nobody wanted to say anything, and then God bless Patty Jenkins. So I hope that this is, you know, knocking down the wall and helping more women, you know, get chances to direct and produce and write and the things that they want to do, because there are some good projects out there. And I'm a big fan of Outlander. I've been reading the books for over 20 years, and I am so grateful to Ron, who came in and helped get that, Ron Moore, get that series going the way it should be, you know. And again, that couldn't have been done 20 years ago or 10 years ago. So in a way, a lot of it's been good, and in a lot, it's almost 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I feel like, okay, at least we're moving forward.
Barry?
It's interesting because you started out talking about the 40s, and when you think about that, although, you know, the big guys running the studios had all the power and the money and the control, women actresses were incredibly powerful, and women-driven stories were fabulous, and were much more of the norm, and they were incredibly popular, the movies. So at one point, the conventional wisdom back when you were walking with dinosaurs, I heard that, was that men would choose the movie, and sort of in our time, that men would choose the movie and women were in control of the remote. And we were seeing tons and tons of television, and especially MOWs and Women in Jeopardy and Disease of the Month and things like that geared toward women. And I think that has changed, but not entirely. I still think that there's a gender bias from the minute children are born. I think that you still see it, despite what a lot of the family-driven companies have worked very hard to accomplish, that girls will go to movies about boys, but boys are more reticent to go to movies about girls.
Barry or Aimme, do you guys want to give us the independent view?
Yeah, well, I'm not in the movie. I don't have too much experience. Even though I produced a show about movie. Stefani review movies on one of the show I'm producing. But I could say I have made a choice to share with people more about education and bring to the table experts to help women and men to guide them in their business and personal life. I made that choice. I could have made a show about just the war, and I'm a Christian and against Muslim and this against this. It will get popular so fast. If I have to talk about, you know, how I lived my life in the Middle East as a Christian girl and grew up around that. So other people wrote a book about that, and they're getting popular because they're using that niche to pay them off somehow or whatever it is. But it's a choice. It's a choice we made. So instead of getting to use this opportunity to get popular or to cash on it, I chose to produce a show about experts to help people bring the everyday person what they learned in their life to share. So it's a choice we're making. It's a choice we make. And each producer make their own choice. And no matter how much the cost is going to be, I'm not going to change my belief in keeping peace. And as you know, I became an ambassador for peace now. And that's why, because I kept what I truly believe we need on this earth and what I want to really leave behind me. So it's a conscious choice we make. Either we follow or we become our own leaders, what we think we need to pay, how we need to pay forward to the opportunities we got in our lives.
Aimme, do you think it's easier for you to be able to make that social choice because you pretty much own and produce your own shows?
Absolutely. Yeah, and but I made that choice. I jumped on it, not even knowing the what to do with it, but because I don't want to be controlled by some other producers to tell me what to do, what not to do, or director, I created my own, and that's my own voice. I want to stay to my truth to create more peace in the world, and I'm hoping to really get the words out to the world that, hey, we could turn obstacles into an opportunity to have more peace in the world. We have enough people cashing out and doing whatever they're doing and throwing messages to the world that is not healthy. And there's a choice to really not to follow the money and the popularity, to follow the heart. Because if I can make a difference in one person's life, that all matters, because that person could change other people's lives. So we have a choice.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
as far from my perspective,
who was
I happen to know for a fact that, you know, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And that means that all writers are leading those leaders. And that also means that those people who are picking up those books and producing those shows based on those books are in turn partnering with those writers and leading the world. What you show somebody makes a huge impact on them, because especially when it's fiction, people underrate the power of fiction, but it's actually way more powerful than nonfiction. When you pick up a nonfiction book, you are aware that you're being taught something. You are aware that somebody is trying to influence you. And you have the ability to decide, okay, I'm going to believe this person or I'm not going to believe this person. When you read fiction, if the author is doing a good enough job of getting you to empathize with that main character, you walk through that experience as if it happened to you.
Right.
And that embeds itself in your subconscious mind and becomes part of your internal programming.
What, Jamie Fraser isn't real?
Everything.
Don't we all wish he was?
So wish that, yeah.
Well, you know, Jamie is the embodiment of what we would like men to be, right? I mean, he's chivalrous, tough when he needs to be, but tender when he should be.
Right.
And always respectful of Claire.
Yes.
Always respectful and treats her like an equal. And that's why we admire and we love Jamie, because that's what we want to see in a man.
Right.
But because we have Jamie, we now have some pinpoint to compare the other men around us. Does it match up to Jamie? Right?
Ask my sister's husband.
You know, and if he doesn't, should I be moving him in that direction? Because we do influence the men in our lives, whether we realize that or not. We have tremendous power over who they become. When a man is deeply in love with a woman, he judges his value by what he sees reflecting back at him from her eyes.
Absolutely.
Brandy, so what I'm understanding from you saying is that we
should have had her on the relationship roundtable. That's what we should have had.
Number one, and then number two, that there's a lot more power. There's power in the writing room. More maybe what we're talking about today about like producing.
Well, the actual show has a great deal of power because it's vivid imagery. It's emotional content. Those emotions embed themselves in your subconscious because you're empathizing with the main character. They become part of your own personal narrative. So yes, Hollywood, absolutely. And anybody actually producing a show, you're influencing people. Everybody who watches this is going to be influenced by what happens here today.
So Brandy brings up this interesting question.
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh my God.
That's okay.
You always cut her off.
Well, no, it's like you love Brandy, but you don't. You're like, no, you said enough. Goodbye.
No, do not believe her. Anyway,
I know.
So, do you guys over there who do the production section, independent or working with the actual giants of Hollywood, Do you think there's more power in the writer's room or with you guys?
Yeah, all right. I don't think you can separate one from the other.
Yeah.
You're talking about, let's see, somebody has an idea. Might be the producer, might be somebody who comes to a producer, somebody has an idea. That idea is going to get acquired, that idea is going to get fleshed out, that idea is going to have, in a television series, it's going to have one head showrunner and 15 people married to that showrunner, and then it's going to have to go through, every script will go through layer after layer after layer of notes. And, again, everybody brings their own, going to what you were saying, Brandy, their own background for good and bad.
Yep.
Which goes back to why diversity matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's going to look at something and see something different. And if everybody who's reading it is seeing the same basic history, I guess, your personal history to it, then you're not going to catch the things that for example, I mean, the biggest walking example, as we all know, is a woman might look at that and say, that's not funny. Guys, oh, you're kidding. That's hysterical, that joke. No, actually, it's really not funny. Did you ever think about what that joke means? I just had somebody teach me, Cheryl Wright, hello, wherever you are, the phrase circling the wagons.
Okay.
I never thought about it. I've used it. Absolutely. And it was the title of something, and Joe said, people should not call it that. You know what that means to a native person?
Mm.
And I never thought about it. And you can argue, is every word sacred in that manner or this or that? But the point is, I never thought about it. So if everybody looks like me, thinks like me, is me, we don't get better. We don't get to an idealized version on any level or a teaching moment.
Well, that is precisely why having so many people's stories told is powerful, because everybody has their own perspective. And you learn from art that perspective is not reality. It is a distortion of reality, because you only see a small percentage of what the reality is when you're drawing. So, and if you were to represent the actual reality of what it is, it would look completely wrong when you drew it. So it's important to have multiple perspectives. It's important to have multiple stories out there. It's important to have multiple voices speaking, because otherwise we're not going to get to the truth of what humanity really is. We're not going to get to those moments where we have, oh, okay, well, I see myself in you. And so now we have the ability to build a bridge between each other.
Yeah, and I'm just going to jump back on it, because really I sort of veered off and Brandy went with me.
Anybody else who wants to jump back in on this after Stephanie, feel free.
But to answer the question you asked, I don't think television is a structure in which, again, I think it was Gina who first brought it up. It's money. It might have been, but ultimately, we are making a product for somebody. So, going back to who has more power, I don't think it's about power. I think it's about crafting a vision. And, the showrunner is responsible for making sure, let's just say, the vision matches week to week. If you're in a film, it's kind of easier in that sense, because you have a singular product you're working with. You're not going week to week to week. It's, just the one script. But, so I think the writer perhaps has first power. It is in film, though, truthfully, unless you are one of a handful of people, not last power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The actors and actresses actually have last power, because they're the ones who give life and breath to the characters.
Gina or Barry or Aimme, do you want to weigh in on this? For me, it would be for you, talent versus producer. Which one has more power? Because do you guys have writers?
No, Judy, she review books. So my shows is a little bit different, and Stefani review movies, and I bring experts. So I have guest experts. They talk about their journey and their lessons to share, whether marketing, health, beauty, business, self-development, inspirational. So I always bring stories, and they have the story, so I don't have to create anything. See, we could learn from everyone who went through something and overcame it and how they did it, whether in business or personal life. So a little bit different where I'm coming from, where the other experts.
So you guys have equal power over there, along with the guests.
I feel the power really in the lessons in my show, that I allow who I bring to the show. So it is a power, kind of my decision to who I bring to my show and what kind of message they have. So for me, I could tell you is my power. And Judy, she brings read books, which is for business and self-development, and children books. So she have the power. I give her that power because she's the one who reviews. But we have the same kind of mindset. We all want to bring positive things to the world.
Barry or Gina, any words on this question? And since we've gone long-winded on this, that's gonna have to be my last one. I've had 3 more. Oh well.
I was just going to say that I would love to see creativity return from the heart rather than from the pocketbook or the wallet. There's a saying that says, dance like no one else is watching.
Yeah.
How about we change it to create like someone else is paying? Now, I'm not saying that, you try to create something that you can't eventually bring into fruition. But I mean, I know Diana Gabaldon has been waiting for the right time to do her series. And so if you put that in create when someone else is paying, she basically said, my heart vision can't be realized right now because it won't be true to my vision. And so she waited, and look what we have. If she had tried to do this 15 years ago, it would have been really disappointing.
Very true. Barry, last words on this one.
I agree with that.
Last words. My passion is for telling human stories. And I've always felt as a producer, especially because I have originated a lot of projects, found ideas, found true stories, historical pieces, that my responsibility as if I was the creative initiator behind a project was to have perspective and a vision on telling this human story. Mm-hmm. And that my job from there on, because it was going to take a lot of people to tell that story, was to very carefully make sure that everybody I put into the boat shared that vision, shared that perspective. They might hopefully they'll bring something wonderful to it, but they weren't rowing in a different direction.
Yeah, I understand that one.
We understand that.
Contributing to a vision with many perspectives that could enrich it, but that we were out, if maybe it sounds too simple, but to tell the same story, to illuminate something about the human condition, which is what I've loved about story. The power to do that.
Thank you guys so much.
Look at her nice last words.
Right?
She was like, put only people in your boat that will believe in your story. I thank you for those good last words. You are more awake than you say you are. You are.
I'm believing you had espresso before you got on.
Okay, so we are going to ask one last question, and we're going to do it how we started. So our last question is, where can people find you? Stephanie.
I am easily found at stefanideoul.com, which is StefaniDeoul.com. Book is available, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you want.
Flash it one more time for us.
Oh,
I love the cover. I love the cover. I love it.
You love the cover. Wait till you read the book.
Okay, anyway. Miss Evans Barry.
Bigideas.com.
Okay.
Is the best place to find me, and from there you can reach me, you can pitch me an idea, you can work with me, you can find out about seminars, or if I'm doing something cool like this and it's going to be available to look at. But I think that's the easiest place. There's a lot of people who want to connect with me on LinkedIn, but I'm just so also on Facebook. Big ideas.
All right, thank you so much, Gina.
I'm one of those crazy people because I work for so many different people. I don't have my own presence, but if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to
everyone else's.
I do. I literally am the definition of a hired gun. So you can go to scottbrick.net and my info is on there, and that's probably the easiest way to get hold of me.
And she actually responds to email. Someone as big
Which
as
is
her actually responds to
amazing.
email. It's amazing to me.
I mean, like all of these people responded to our email. That was crazy. But we appreciate it anyway. Aimme?
Yeah, okay. You can find me at akexpertstv.com, akexpertstv.com. I would like to have you ladies on my show. So connect with me, please. Or I'll connect with you.
Okay.
Awesome, Brandy.
Yeah.
My website is 40daywriter.com, 40day, D-A-Y, writer, W-R-I-T-E-R.com. And I'm also on Amazon. I've got my books there, and Facebook and Twitter. And there you go. So
Thank you. So we're going to wrap it up on our,
Yes.
I'm doing the wrap up.
No, you're not.
Yes. No, you're not.
Wait, no, you don't do the wrap.
No, please.
You know you never do the wrap. Why are you doing the wrap?
Well, you can jump in later.
No.
We are two of the And I Thought ladies. This is Jade, and I'm Winona.
You see, you didn't let me say my own name.
I know.
Jade. I'm Jade.
So we wrote this series of books. You can find out on Amazon.com.
And I Thought series.
The And I Thought series.
See, she never does the wrap up. She'll not do it.
And you can find out on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, and WeThought.com. Also, you can go to the ladies tab on andwethought.com, go all the way down to the tippity bottom. That is a word because I made it up. The tippity bottom. And you will see the charities that we support. You can go to the shows page and see all the shows that we have going on. This is not the only one, by the way. So I was going to say that wisdom is all around you. And go ahead and take that second half. See if you can get it right.
Well, I'm just going to say the whole thing. Wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it.
So peace and love, you guys, from Winona with the 2 broken nails still.
And Jade. Bye-bye.
Bye.